Hello everyone and welcome back to Boulder Cove. This is episode 23 and today we're gonna do two things. We're gonna work on the waterfront a little bit more. We're gonna build a nice open park right outside of the city, and then we're gonna be working on building some marinas up near the river, near the city here. Now, if you end up enjoying this video, then please consider leaving a like and subscribe for even more content like this. Now we are starting off at where we left off really in the last episode. And the last one we did work on, for example, the public beach. Now we're gonna work right next to that and just finish up this area near the waterfront, so we can almost start working on the city, as we have just finished up working on the outskirts really. Now I wanted this area to be quite nice. This could be like a more of a newer part of the city, quite far away from the downtown, so it's a little bit newer and a little bit nicer, with a bunch of parks. And my idea was for this park to be very open. I didn't want to clutter it with too much stuff. I only placed down a handful of buildings, like a park life buildings, and just a few props, and that was it. The rest is really just pathways going around, and I think it really looks good. Definitely when you got the density of buildings right next to it, I think an open area like this is quite fitting for a place like this. The first thing that we're going to be working on is building this custom car park. Now it is custom because it's elevated. If it wasn't elevated, then I would probably just use the parking lot roads, so that actually they could park there. But the cars that are parked here, they are just props, which is okay, I think. They're good props. I downloaded these car props for, was it episode 20? Episode 19? The one where we did the airport. Wanted to have a lot of cars parked in the airport parking lots. So that is why I downloaded these, and I have used them actually quite a lot after that as well. So it's a good investment in this series, these prop cars. But I have also noticed that a lot more of the people in Boulder Cove, they tend to now to be more inclined to finding a parking spot for their cars, because usually they would just drive to wherever they want to go, and then they just get out of the car and the car will magically disappear, which is how the game works. But I think I did something with the traffic manager mod, saying that they should, if there's a parking lot nearby, they should use it. And I think I ticked that box months ago, but I haven't really started to notice anything until now. Maybe it's because I'm working in a more denser area now, but they are really inclined to using the parking lots, and whatever parking lot I'm placing down, the parking lot roads, they're pretty much full in this area. And I use a technique to place them in the back alleys between buildings. You don't really need to connect them to a road, because the cars would almost magically float to the parking lots. So they still work, and it's quite cool to see them actually using these parking lots. And they're really inclined to find a good place to park. This one isn't though, these are just props, but it looks good, and that's probably one of the main aspects of my series. It doesn't quite work, but it looks good. But this park is actually working quite nice. We do have a lot of people going about in this one. A lot of people on the bikes as well, which is what I wanted to see. That's why I placed down a bike path going from one end to the other. It's not the quickest route, but I think they programmed the the Sims in this game to, if they were to use their bikes to get from point A to point B, they are okay with going a longer route, as long as that route includes going on a bike path. Because I've been like following the Sims around, seeing where they go and how they get there, and I've seen people basically take major detours, definitely on the bicycles, to get from point A to point B by using these bike paths that I place down. And I'm not complaining, because it gives this park, it makes it look a lot more alive, and I'm really not complaining. I'm not, but I think it's a little bit weird, but I think it's probably for the best, that they see a bike path and they want to use it, even though it takes a little bit longer, but it's designated for them. So I think I would also be more inclined actually to use a designated bike path, to go a little bit longer, instead of having to swirl in and out of cars and on over the roads and everything. I feel also a lot more safe, I think, if I were to go on a bike path like this. I also placed down regular pathways, and I'm considering actually placing down these walking tours along these paths, because that's something I haven't used. Like, these are walking tours that came with the Park Life DLC, and it's sort of like you place down a route, almost like a bus route, and instead of a bus there's actually like tourist people walking from each stop to the other. And it's quite nice if you have like a path or several pathways going through the city and you want people to use them. If it's, for example, up a mountain or something and you want to see some movement there, you can create these walking tours and sort of force tourists to believing that that's a nice spot to walk on. So they would walk and then stop on these certain kinds of places. I think I also want to do that because I want to get even more people walking around this spot. Right now it's not that many, but I think that's because there's not a lot of people living in this area. Most of them live on the other side of the map. I think I want to take a episode, or like between episodes, to place down a lot more buildings in this city, because it's it's not really that interesting to just place down buildings without even considering what I'm placing down, because I don't want to use 50 episodes on just placing down buildings in the city. So I'm gonna do probably a lot between episodes, but like certain special spots I'll definitely take like one episode at a time. The downtown, for example, that might be like 2 episodes. Yeah, like other landmarks in this city also probably will get its own episode. Now that I am finished working on this park, I decided to just continue working up the river to create sort of like this marina, and I really enjoyed how it turned out. I enjoyed it so much. I think I'm actually gonna do the same technique on both sides, basically going all the way up the river almost with this bunch of marinas. So there wouldn't be any sort of industrial boats here. There wouldn't be any like fishing boats. Those would be placed somewhere else, and then I would keep this river just for like private boats, boats that people have, whether that be sailboats or yachts or just tiny little dinghies. And also I'm thinking of placing down or I have actually placed down, thinking of placing down more of these ferry harbors, because this river is quite wide, and I didn't want to place down any like walking bridge across, like any kind of bridge really, because it sort of obstructed the view a little bit. So I'm thinking instead of that I'll just do a like bunch of ferry stops on each side of the river that like constantly goes from one side to the other. So that would be a thing. and then you get more like movement in the river as well. It looks more alive, but it does look alive without the ferries as well, and that's because of a building that I have downloaded, which is basically a like fishing harbor, but it's instead of spawning fishing boats, it spawns regular boats like in yachts and sailboats, and like the exact kind of boats that I'm placing down right now. And I really like that. I have seen it go around. You can see me later placing down the path that these boats will take, and I'm gonna do a lot more of these kind of things, so we get even more movement in the river here. Because really, up until the Sunset Harbor DLC, the waterways have been a little bit quiet. You could of course bring in the ferries, but you know, that would be the only thing. The ferries, and then of course the bigger boats, the cruise ships and the like tank ships that would transport like goods and stuff. Those would be the only thing. But now you can get a lot more different kinds of boats going basically everywhere you want it to go. And definitely with this new asset that I have downloaded, you can get even these cool yachts and these cool sailboats going around as well. And I really enjoy it. And I also really enjoy that these are the exact models that are placed down, so you actually see some sort of continuity in the build. Now, the technique I used to build these marinas was a very simple technique really. I placed down a elevated pathway right near the shorefront, and then just built the I don't really know what they're called. Almost these kind of like platforms that, you know, go out into the river that the boats are connected to. And then I of course also downloaded these boats. These are boats by, I think it's called Mick Crosshill. I think he made them. Most of these made for Pug Gaming's Monaco series. They are really good boats. Some are like huge and beautiful, but I really like these Marina fillers, which are the smaller boats that aren't really that detailed. I think they're also really good for the performance, that I don't spam with these huge nice boats that have a high try count, I think, like the number of triangles. But it's nice to also have these kind of boats that aren't really that heavy on the performance, because I will place down a lot of these boats in this area, because as I said, I want to sort of use this design on both sides of the river to really, you know, create this huge area for the public to, you know, store their boats and stuff like that. Now, this is a very rich area, because, you know, most people who own these kinds of boats, they tend to have a little bit of money. Yeah, of course the boat is expensive, but also this spot, because they of course rent like spots on the marina to store their boats, and that would probably be a very expensive rent, or like it would cost quite a lot of money, I think, because it is very close to the city. I probably would like to also do another one of these a little bit further out, so that, you know, people who want to have a boat but don't have that much money, they could still afford to rent a spot like this. But this area will probably be a very rich area. There are probably several like rich areas in this city. I have been thinking about, you know, the sort of like a Beverly Hills inspired area, but I also want to have these really nice houses by the waterfront, or by the river, really, whether that be on this side or the other side of the river, this side that we haven't built on. That we'll see about that, but for now this is a really nice spot to live, and it probably would be quite expensive But I really enjoyed how this marina looked, and I just love zooming out, and I can't wait to actually like fill up this area with these kinds of marinas. I think it will look really good. And we're also gonna see in the cinematics a lot of movement. We're gonna see a lot of boats going around. Not that many, but definitely when we finish. Then we're gonna have ferries going around. We're also gonna have all of these sailboats and yachts and just regular boats going around. So it should be really cool, and it's quite simple. And I know it's quite tedious to place down all these boats, but it's really simple to do. You know, you just place down the elevated paths. You use a movie to just fix it up as you please. You of course make sure that everything is elevated at the same height, and then you just place down the boats and, you know, sort of try to create like a unique look and not spam the same area with the same kind of boat, so you get a little bit of like difference in them. And then when it comes to detailing, it's not really that much detailing. I use, for example, these patches of grass to sort of make, you know, the area, or make really the shoreline a little bit more lush, actually, with just fill it up with a little bit more foliage. And that was really it. So it's quite simple, and I have been really enjoying it. I didn't really mean to do this much with the marina. For example, creating this island here, all that I wasn't really planning on doing, but I was bored one night and I really enjoyed creating marinas. So yeah, I just wanted to do one more. Now the next episode we're not going to build a marina, or we're not going to build in Boulder City, which is the capital here. We're gonna go back and we're gonna go and build this quite nice little village and a bunch of farms, sort of close to the mansion that we built in episode 20, I think. So that should be very much enjoyable. Now it's time for some before and after shots and some cinematics. Look out for movement in the river or by the water, or everywhere really. I really enjoyed how this all turned out, and if you did, then of course leaving a like, a comment or subscribe would be very much appreciated. Also, if you have any suggestions on what we should build next, or just thoughts in general, do let me know. You can do that in the comments here. You can get in touch on Twitter, follow me there as well, or join me on Discord. All the links are in the description. But that's it for now. I would like to thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.
Secondhand, I felt a bit forgotten. Not your plan, but now the days of silence outgrow the fun things we have done. But tell me, do you wanna carry on? Plants don't grow without water, and they cave when it's cold. We could go till we